Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Mechabellum. Playing the second match against Mr. Holop over here. This time it looks like the roles are going to be reversed though. He's most likely going to aggro me, and I'm most likely going to defend me. Defend myself. I think that is the correct English term. I am starting with basically my standard positioning, although this time I'm buying crawlers rather than fangs. If this were a match that looked like standard versus standard, you better believe I would be going for fangs here. Let's just speed the first few moments of this game along and see what happens. So the opponent went with one Arclight and one extra pack of chaff. This Arclight looks like it might get overwhelmed somewhat soon here, but it did eat all of the crawlers, and the storm crawlers are landing well. Can the Arc kill that? Probably not. But the storms can. And that means my opponent isn't getting all that much done, although this Arclight might actually get it. Nah, it would have to kill something, anything to do that. And it's not going to get anything. Well, it might actually get a Stormcaller. I stand corrected. I stand corrected. So, first round by not an insignificant margin goes to me. My opponent hasn't gotten any leveled steel bows, but he did get a leveled Arclight. When you're playing Elite and this is offered, you take it, by the way. 3 white fangs? Is it Christmas already? My opponent decides to take a Phoenix, which makes sense because I'm currently running with no anti-air save for fangs. He also puts a crawler here, and, well, let's speed this one along a tiny bit. I'm considering my options. And I'm quite, considering my options at quite a length. I decide to go for another Arclight. And a Marksman. Yeah, this level 2 Marksman can, if the rest of the fight goes my way, absolutely take care of these Phoenixes. And apparently some extra damage on my units, which should be good against these steel boars. Extra damage on the Arclights, on the Stormcrawlers, even on the Fangs, even on the Crawlers, to be honest, can definitely do something. My opponent decides to throw a missile here. These Crawlers all head towards the missile, so no Crawlers will trigger that. Meanwhile, there is an Arclight here, and there is a pack of Crawlers here. So this is my opponent's new additions in addition to the Phoenix. The Fangs are lasting quite long until the Crawlers hit, but the Arclight is making sure they do last long enough by the looks of things. Arclight's not going to be all that happy, but it did get the job done. A single Fang is distracting the opponent for long enough. That Arclight is actually triggering a missile, and now there should be nothing left to stop this Marksman from cleaning up the Phoenixes. Single Marksman actually worked. And it gets a level of that, which means that I could technically be sitting on a level 4 Marksman if I so desire. But honestly, that's just an XP pinata waiting to happen. We have a redeployment here. My opponent can get Rhino Assault, redeployment, or intensive training. Even Fortified Overlord you can make a case for, but I think either of these are just too strong, in my opinion. He also gets his Typhoons, so while I have been getting a good amount of value out of my Specialist, level 2 Crawlers are absolutely OP in the early game, usually, my opponent now has his big power spike. A 300 cost unit isn't nothing, after all. This time he is the guy who has to think a lot. I decided to just throw the charge shot on Arclights. When I play Elite, you better believe I like my carry Arclights early. If I want to go carry Arclights. I also decide to position this Arclight a tiny bit further towards this side. He threw a level on this tower, and it's defended by a pack of Crawlers. I think they are new. But the Arclight, of course, can take care of them just as well. Well, not just as well, a bit less than just as well. He goes for a bit of a cheese by the looks of things. Oops. However, that cheese at least initially falls flat. Soon these Crawlers will be out of range, and then the Phoenixes will retarget. Which is now, basically. Yes, that is a good move with redeployment, let's be honest. This is a really good move with redeployment, and it's doing a good amount of damage. Steel Ball gets the level 2 And this Arclight is not long after. That marksman also got killed by the Phoenixes, and now these Phoenixes have a good level. Arclight has a level, these Typhoons do not. Alright. Incendiary Barrier. Even Elite Tarantula isn't all that bad, I think. Supply Enhancement, I'm not sure it's worth in round 4. If this was like round 2, I'd be eager to take it. I decide to take the Barrier. And what is my opponent doing? Also some Fangs here in order to delay these Phoenixes or even kill them. A redeployment on this Arclight in the corner. This is going to distract the late Chaff. Even though the arrow doesn't show it, it's going to do that. So, okay, he takes the supply enhancement. It needs, what is it? 3 rounds to break even, and this means that in round 8 he's going to have $50 of profit made. I decide to add in a bunch more Arclights. Currently, save for the Phoenixes, there really isn't anything on the board that these Arclights are deliberately bad into. Even the steel balls can get cracked pretty easily. It takes them like 3 or 4 shots to kill one. Phoenixes get repositioned into the flank. I wonder what these Fangs are going to do. Anyway, the tower is level 3 and these Phoenixes have warp in time. So we'll see. He decides to throw a Typhoon into this flank. So the flank shenanigans have officially begun in this match. Well, I mean, I can't really call level 1 crawlers here flank shenanigans. Though technically an Arclight here would be considered flank shenanigans. Anyway, does he do anything with his $50? He just unlocks the marksman. Reasonable, reasonable. As I said, the arrow is lying. The arrows lie so often. This marksman immediately got to lock onto a juicy target, which is something my opponent should absolutely fix. You can see how quickly the Arclights are able to take out steel balls. However, this tower is not going to last much longer. It's important that I wipe out as much as I can here. The low range of my units is not exactly helping, but then again my opponent's DPS is also nothing to really write home about. Fangs here are going to kill one Phoenix and kill the second Phoenix. After everything in this area died, they apparently double-backed. Here we have a Sandworm and we have Wasps. Makes you wish you could hit both of these buttons at the same time. Sandworm is actually pretty scary here. I'm not necessarily as afraid of the Wasps, but yeah, my opponent has correctly identified that a Sandworm can get the job done. Or can get something done. Out of necessity, I decide to take the Sledgehammers. There really wasn't that much that piques my interest, but they should be good to delay literally everything here. He also decides to throw a Phoenix here in order to counter my Arclight. Well, throw the Phoenix that he has been, not more beaconing, redeploying all around. Meanwhile, I decide to take range. In the last fight, this would have helped a good amount. But right now, there really is nothing to keep this Sandworm from just crushing through. Mobile beacon for my opponent. Probably just to beacon something in the middle here, like this worm. Worms with steel ball to reinforce against fortresses potentially. That sounds like a good idea. I decide to get some Mustangs in order to counter Wasps that are not coming in this match, at least not yet. There's always a chance he's going to go for Wasp Worm later on. And apparently another Crawler and another Steel Ball to break through here is his plan. That makes sense. I couldn't redeploy this Arclight, so it's kind of redundant, literally. The Phoenixes were maybe repositioned. I didn't watch in the end. However, these two Arclights have decided to take the Steel Balls out. And now they are hitting this worm, and you can see that they are doing actual damage to it. The flank didn't work out as my opponent had expected, but this this worm is already up a third of a level. However, there is quite an army waiting for it. Though it's not exactly an army that is well suited to fight it. It probably is going to be enough. I'm probably gonna one-shot this thing, yeah, as soon as it emerged. Anyhow, we have a bunch of arc lights against a bunch of crawlers here, and that means this round is mine, but my HP damage is, for round 5, this is abysmal. Make no mistake.